Hey guys, it is the dynamic twin duo back at it again for another Q&A.
Mahalo.
Funny enough, I actually have the same sunglasses as Nick. We were going to wear them today as a little matching thing. Talk us through them. They look great.
They're great. Yeah, that's actually also going to be promoting our new crypto album at the end of the video, the Chronicles of Crypto. So we're excited about that. But Jess, unfortunately, you couldn't dynamic twin duo matching sunglasses. No, not today.
I know. And I was like, should I buy another pair specifically for them? And I was like, they don't come cheap. And you know what? I don't want to cash out any crypto yet. So maybe next time. Yeah. Well, we have a good Q&A. Thank you to everyone that has submitted the questions so far. We've got a lot of topics: Cosmos ecosystem, Ethereum ETF, some of the DePIN RWA examples run through. So I'm going to kick things off by asking you the first question, which is from Apolotus, which is a good stablecoin to change profits into? What about Pax Gold?
Yeah, so in terms of, I personally don't hold Pax Gold and any stables in Pax Gold. Mm-hmm. I think that obviously it's a good thing to hold. It's a good thing to hold profits in if you want to have some sort of a hard money equivalent. Yeah. Because if you just hold it in stables, obviously you just hold a cryptocurrency that's tied and pegged to the US dollar, which is depreciating obviously by the rate of inflation all the time. So I personally don't hold Pax Gold. I also don't hold USDC because of, if you recall back to March last year when they had that DPEG, I was a bit, perturbed by that experience.
Yeah.
Almost 10% from that DPEG. I get it was kind of like a black swan, a stablecoin issuer losing access to all of their assets in a bank, it perturbed me enough to the extent that I decided I'm a Tether maxi when it comes to stables. Mm-hmm. So I hold a lot of my stable assets and stable crypto gains, as well as the dry powder I want to invest in Tether, so USDT. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm also the same with USDT there as well. I think it'll be interesting for people that are based in Europe to look at if there is going to be more of a migration into Euro scene, because I know that's something that they're working quite closely with regulators on. But yeah, also I've had some friends that were badly burnt by UST back in the day in 2022. Yeah. And so for me, USDT is the stablecoin of choice at the moment.
Yeah, and guys, be careful there's a lot of new stablecoins launching, especially some of them in the algorithmic kind. Yeah. Some that operate a mint and burn mechanism as well, similar to the Terra UST. So be careful of that because, at the end of the day, just because it's been able to hold its peg through relatively stable market or these current market conditions doesn't mean it's going to hold true going forward, because very unstable market conditions can do a lot to these dynamic algo stablecoins. So USDT is the one. I know that there's generally, the USDT FUD has kind of, it has kind of been dispelled. They've released these audits. I think people have now, the USDT Tether truthers have kind of died down as well. They've got market dominance. People in the industry trust and use Tether. I think that, to be honest, from that perspective, I'm pretty comfortable holding in Tether. And I think that happy to have it for quite some time as well. Mm-hmm. It's there to stay,
Yep. And actually we have in Token 2049, which is going to be in a few weeks, Guy might be interviewing Paolo from Tether. Okay. So that'll be an interesting one. So if any of you are looking at which stablecoins and why, and you do have any possible questions for the founder, do let us know in the comments and we can go through them.
Yeah. Cool. So now next question is from Jeryan2687. And he's asking, is the May ETH ETF chances ultra slim now since the SEC is pushing to label it a security?
Dun, dun, dun. Do you want to guess Polymarket? Because we've been following Polymarket's likelihood of a spot ETF approval for ETH by May. As of today,
let me guess. 18%?
Close, 19%.
19%.
Which is pretty crazy because at the start of the year, it was around 50-50. I think a May ETF approval is looking pretty unlikely. And I think that's felt across the board, both by the kind of regulatory standpoint, by the people that are in the legal field that are analysing the situation, and also by the issuers as well. So I listened to the recent Laura Shin podcast episode with two lawyers that were speaking. There was one guy called Sam Enzer who was on, and he was giving some really interesting insights. And he was saying that the investigation with Ethereum that's likely targeting the Ethereum Foundation, He was saying that it could be that we're expecting the SEC to be resilient again to the spot ETF approval going ahead, spot ETH ETF approval going ahead. And it could be that the SEC is trying to make a case against Ethereum Foundation and Ethereum so that they can defend the evidence of why they should or should not approve a spot Ethereum ETF. And that was kind of what he was alluding to as being something that will roll out over the next few months. We also saw Bitwise saying that it would make sense to delay the spot Ethereum ETF till December, because he was saying there's so much hype and focus around Bitcoin at the moment that it really wouldn't be a fair launch. And he was saying that they're too focused on Bitcoin products to give the Ethereum ETFs what they need to really go forward and to thrive.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's a really good podcast, by the way, that episode. I would suggest you guys watch it. And I think it's an interesting thesis for sure, because, I think that the notion that the SEC would all of a sudden now be interested in labeling the Ether securities farcical, because remember, they've approved the ETH futures.
Yeah.
And then they've also approved the ETH futures ETFs. And these also came subsequent to the actual merge, right? Yeah. So even since 2022, they approved CME futures after that, and the futures ETF. So the question is, like, why would they approve that if they had any sort of issues?
And surely it would make sense to approve everything in one batch there, because isn't it that the futures actually has more room for price speculation than the actual spot Ethereum ETF itself?
Exactly, yeah. So I think that's an interesting podcast. You guys will definitely watch it. I think that also Matt Hogan, he makes a good point there. It's like not just the question of whether the SEC will allow it, but I don't think there'll be market demand for these products when they hit the market, because we see how the flop, the ProShares ETF that happened last year, the futures ETF, it was a kind of a flop, right? So, I think that if you have a product launching that's got no demand for it, well, then for one, there's also the question on if Grayscale gets converted, then that's going to lead to, potential dumping on the closing of the discounts.
Yeah.
It potentially is not a bad thing if it is delayed, because you want these things to launch when right now the market's digesting Bitcoin. You want them to launch when there will be an interest and excitement in these ETH products. And, that's probably towards the end of the year, once market participants have got comfortable with the Bitcoin ETFs and are now willing to look into, altcoins that they wanted to invest in.
Yeah.
And then also an interesting component is the staking point as well. Right?
Yes, true. Because so that was Fidelity, right?
Fidelity, they wanted to, but it's also it's like how would the mechanics of how they would work in terms of staking rule, and how how do they protect against things like slashing and things like that, and how the dividends distributed. So that's also an interesting point that may throw a spanner in the works if they're making the applications by May. So we'll have to see how it goes towards the end of the year. Yeah,
and it's also so hard to gauge at the moment, even if we look at the spot Bitcoin ETFs with the demand. We're kind of watching on a day-by-day, case-by-case, but they are fluctuating quite a lot with inflows and outflows. So later on in the year, let's see. Okay, let's go. And Angela76, where is this? With a little sun emoji, and where is this place?
Yeah, so I think the point, this is in relation to the actual image that was used for putting out this question on the Instagram. And that's a cool image, right? That's an amazingly good photo.
That is a good photo.
So who's that? That's Guy and...
Guy.
Is that me or you? Well, it's a blonde person, so...
Guy!
I mean, it's far away. I can't see.
It's obviously you.
Oh, okay, sorry. I mean, it's very blurred. It's very blurred.
HR is sitting behind the camera. Guys, comment below if you think Nick should get a disciplinary for that comment.
Okay, but
I can't work in these conditions.
But it's a very good photo.
It's a really good photo. It's a really good photo.
It's still blurred. Maybe if it was a better HD, I would have been able to see it was easier. So this image was in the Seychelles. It was a really good photo taken in the Seychelles, and we were there. What was it now?
It was the start of the year. It was January. We were there for it was Binance were hosting a little bit of a kind of KOL, people that were in the crypto YouTube space meetup. Pretty interesting to meet some of the other crypto YouTubers from around the world. We also filmed the news intro on the beach in 35-degree heat and humidity. It was amazing because you didn't have a shirt and a blazer on. Me and Guy are sweating. It was so humid.
How many takes did you have to do that again?
Quite a few. And Guy had and then he got to run and jump in the sea afterwards, which was great. We filmed a deals insert there as well.
Yeah.
Little deals advert.
Yeah, the deals. Yeah, that was an amazing deals insert as well. The hippie version. You're on the Zen retreat in the middle of Seychelles.
I was lost, and then I found the Coin Bureau deals page. But you had quite an interesting story about Seychelles because it wasn't the first time you'd been.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time. So I'd been there back in, I think it was 2017, for the first time in the Seychelles, in a bit of a holiday. And this was whilst I was working on a few other things. And at that time, I just got into crypto, and I thought I wanted to start a cryptocurrency education platform. And we need to have a website and a domain and a name. Right? And then I was like, whilst I was on holiday, chilling out, watching the beach, watching the sunset, just doing a bit of work on my laptop, as you do, nomad capitalist.
This is the crazy thing when people tell me these stories, like, I was on a relaxing island, and the first thing I thought was buying a domain.
You need the inspiration.
Okay, you need the
exactly.
Like Coin Bureau.
According to the deals page, that's where you get the inspiration. So, I was chilling out there, and I was looking on a domain broker website, and I saw coinbureau.com. I was like, hey, that's a cool name. It's memorable. It's cool. It's. At that time, I didn't know that directly translated from French, it means corner office, which is crazy.
Yes.
I should have done the DD on that. But it looked clean from the perspective of, the search results and all that. And I was like, that's a cool name for a cryptocurrency website. So I bagged the domain for $500. So, and the rest, they say, is history, right? So the Coin Bureau was founded, technically, in the Seychelles. And you guys have been lobbying to get us to go there as like a head office HQ.
Yes, because we love working in Dubai. It's amazing, but summer's tricky. So I was kind of pitching to Nick that think how much happier and tanned and healthier it would be if we had like a little villa in summer where we all go film content 27, not like 24, so 25 guys, and then we can just, chill on the beach afterwards.
That's a good pitch. I mean, we need to see the pitch deck for this, going the
business
plan, and the cost benefit analysis, and then we can consider it. I mean, also let us know, guys, would you like us to move to the Seychelles? And we've already made a move, jurisdictional move. I mean, I'm happy to expand out, or we can have like a remote office there that we do in the summer months.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're having this kind of track of like funny things that we're overhearing in the office during this market condition. And Guy the other day was pitching that we could actually just film all of our videos from a boat.
Well, he made a good argument for it because you can have jurisdictional arbitrage. Yeah. You can basically be a law unto the sea of the pirates, like basically don't have to worry about the rules laid out by the SEC. No need to worry about regulation by enforcement. Just be a person on the sea with no jurisdiction over you.
We're educational crypto pirates.
Yeah, there we go.
I was trapped inside a cage made out of the daily grind.
I was so unfulfilled. I felt like a blank sheet of A4 paper.
Something was missing from my life, but I didn't know what.
But then I found what I'd been missing.
The Coin Bureau deals page was the answer to my prayers.
It had everything I needed to make me complete.
Exchange sign-up bonuses of up to $60,000.
The biggest discounts on the best hardware wallets.
Trading fee discounts of up to 60% on the best crypto exchanges.
Exclusive altcoin alpha.
Thank you, Coin Bureau, for bringing me back to life.
Cool. So next question. This is from Omniblas, and he's asking, in 2025, central banks will be allowed to accumulate crypto on their balance sheets, but will they?
Dun, dun, dun. Well, I would assume that based on El Salvador and their performance recently with them, adopting Bitcoin as legal tender and moving forward, and the positive response, not only financially, but also from El Salvador becoming a bit of a landing spot for other crypto and digital nomads, that other economies that are small and developing and maybe are suffering from inflation would adopt a similar strategy. Because I think Tim Draper said, if we see Bitcoin reach close to $100,000, El Salvador can pay off all of its IMF debt in one fell swoop using its Bitcoin profits, which is crazy when you think about it. Like, they have completely turned around their economy in a really interesting way. They actually have a conference on at the moment in El Salvador, the Halving pre-conference, and some of the crypto, I think obviously Max Kaiser and Stacey are over there. Tone Vase is over there at the moment. So if you're interested to have a little look, go on their Twitter and see what it looks like. But I haven't been to El Salvador, but I would love to go and scope out the Bitcoin mining volcanoes and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's become a very safe place as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone there 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but now ever since Bukele's come in, it seems to become a very safe place, and it is becoming the crypto Bitcoin, epicenter, right?
Yeah.
Especially for the Bitcoin maxis.
Yeah. And you just have to look at how certain countries are adopting and moving forward to having more of an inclusive approach to crypto, and then other countries that are having a bit more of a kind of hide away from it and make it something which is inaccessible, and the landscape for both of those. And El Salvador seems like a positive. Yay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, countries accumulating crypto for their reserves. And then when it comes to central banks and central banks themselves, I mean, in the context of this year, next year in January, the BIS has allowed for at least 2% of central bank balance sheets to hold Bitcoin or crypto assets. So now total central bank reserves are something like over like 10 to 15 trillion. I think it's like 10 to 12 trillion, at least the top 10. So $10 trillion, and think about that in terms of if any of that is allocated to crypto. And an interesting point here is like, why they would choose to hold crypto as an asset in a reserve is, if you recall what happened to Russia's central bank when they invaded Ukraine. They had massive dollar reserves in foreign central banks. The way central banks work is that they keep their reserves in other central banks and other countries, right? And the Russian central bank had a lot of dollar reserves in these other countries. And when they invaded Ukraine, it was seized by these countries, so they lost access to their reserves. So the US government basically weaponized the dollar to the detriment of these countries. Now, whether you agree with that or not, the main concern here is, of course, the fact that if you're a central bank of a country like China or whatnot, you hold in reserves in dollars. You currently think like, what the hell? If I do anything that the US government doesn't approve of, bam, there we go. They seize my reserves, right? And also like gold, like central bankers sometimes hold gold, but gold isn't like the most secure asset either. Because it can also be seized. There was a case where Nicolas Maduro, basically the Venezuelan leader, he had gold in a reserve in the London vaults, and then the people in the UK, the government in the UK, seized that gold as well. So if you want, as a central bank, you want an asset that cannot be seized, that's easy to transfer, that's stateless, permissionless, what asset is better than Bitcoin or crypto?
Very true. Because I think when you initially read the question, you look at central banks, initially your first thought is to go to the big ones, and the US is one of them. But if we're looking at countries that are looking to gain a little bit more independence from the dollar, then you've got so many other countries that are looking to have an alternative on their sheet. And we looked into the BRICS conference that took place last year, and we had one of the researchers from the BRICS come on to Coin Bureau Eclipse, and he was talking about how they are looking at a different digital currency that would either be backed by the likes of gold. And he actually said himself, personally, not representing the BRICS opinion, but he was like, I'm a fan of Bitcoin. I wouldn't be see it as something that's so far-fetched. So there are other economies, and between like Brazil, Russia, China, all of these countries, that's 1/3 of the world's population. And they'll become the biggest economic bloc in the next 10, 15 years. So keep an eye on that. 2% of 10 trillion, there we go. Crazy numbers. Okay, so Zlot SZB said, Guy mentioned a World Mobile interview. When can we expect it? Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when he mentions. I assume this must refer to the Q&A, the AMA you're going to be doing.
Yes. Yeah. So I think Guy's mentioned, we have a few little content pieces coming up because you guys have been asking a lot, and we do see in the Discord when people come up with suggestions or recommendations. DePIN and RWA has been a huge talking point at the moment, which means that obviously some of the projects that are affiliated or representing or waving that flag do get a shout out. World Mobile has been one of them. So World Mobile has a Coin Bureau Club review that will be out by the time this video is already live, which was really fascinating. I personally have been kind of affiliated with the World Mobile team since I think 2019 was when I first started interviewing Mickey. Wow. So I've been able to watch their team grow, and I think one of the really fascinating things about the project is they've already got the integrations live, so you can already go on their YouTube channel, and it still feels like a kind of uncovered gem in the sense that you will look at videos of them rolling out air nodes in Tanzania and Zanzibar, and those videos have less than 1,000 views, and it kind of feels interesting when you look at like the videos are very well produced. You can see the impact it's made on the country and on the region, and yet people aren't really talking about it yet, which is kind of interesting. So we are set to have a AMA with Mickey Watkins, who's the CEO of World Mobile, sometime soon. The date is not yet confirmed, so the best thing I would say is to go over to the Discord and click that you are following and keep an eye on the events page. But if you also are interested in DePIN, we have an AMA on the 10th of April with Peak, which is another big DePIN project and one to watch too. So Ask away, guys. I am here to moderate these conversations and get you as much alpha as I possibly can.
Yeah, I'm bullish for the peak one for sure. The World Mobile one, to be honest, I didn't know too much about it prior to getting a briefing on the review we've done for the club, and it seems to be a pretty positive review.
Yeah.
And I think that, like Dan, our head of research, he actually, started accumulating a little bit because he said to himself, like, it's an undervalued helium, right? In this perspective of like, it's close to the ICO price as well.
Yeah.
It's got a strong community. The Cardano community is a strong community. Obviously, they're bullish on World Mobile. And I think that also the fact that obviously you can't bank the unbanked. I like this. You can't bank the unbanked unless you connect the unconnected. That's a cool slogan.
That is a cool slogan. It's very
right?
true.
It's true. It's like they're going into Africa, some of these places where there's no connection. How are you going to go and get digital currency to people if there's no way for them to transact with it because they don't have internet connectivity?
Yeah.
And they've got these balloons now, and the hardware's out there. So it's a really interesting DePIN play.
Yeah.
The question, of course, is like, are they going to go multi-chain because they are looking at this potential side chain? And there was one or two questions about centralization of the token mechanism, the buyback mechanism.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you watch and you can see the entire review on the Coin Bureau Club. It should be out by now, and you guys can form your own opinions. But it was relatively positive. Yeah.
And this is one of the things I like about DePIN as an industry in general, is that you can actually see the integration into society. You can see the real world applications as they perform, because I think one thing that was really difficult to gauge in the 2021 market cycle, one of the narratives was metaverse, and it was like, oh, we're building this platform, it's not ready yet, it might be ready in 2 years, and then you're expected to throw money into a token. Whereas this way around, it feels like people are investing the right way, which is you've already got, for example, like 1,500 nodes in Zanzibar for World Mobile. You've already got the likes of Helium. They've already rolled out, Helium, have already got the SIM cards across Miami. You've got Hive Mapper. They've already rolled out the boxes where people can buy for $500 and collect honey on Solana. So you've already got the applications underway, and then you can just choose to invest and expand the ecosystem, which I think is the correct way to be investing.
Yeah, amen. And another interesting DePIN play that's a Hive Mapper beta play is Atlas Navi. It's on Guide's watch list, and it's actually, I think it's been voted on in the Coin Bureau Club right now. I don't know if it's going to win yet. We'll know by the time this video is out, we'll know. But if it is Atlas Navi, you'll also be able to see another interesting DePIN play that's similar to Hive Mapper, but a newer one, so potentially a higher beta play there.
Oh, interesting.
Cool. Next question. This is from GD Liav, and he asks, did you move to Dubai permanently? If so, can you tell us more about the taxation principles? Yeah, that's interesting. We get a lot of questions about Dubai.
We do get loads of questions on tax, which I think maybe we should do a little separate video. So when did you move to Dubai?
2022.
Okay, and you knew you were coming here with Coin Bureau. You were coming to like scope out the lay of the land.
Yeah. So basically, how it worked? No. Basically, we first came to scope out the lay of the land in 2021. We stayed here for about 3-4 months. It also
was the boat party.
That was earlier before the boat party. That was a few months before that. And this was also during the peak of. During COVID, there was a lockdown. At that time I was living in Toronto, and they locked the place down, locked in here.
Yeah.
Freezing weather in this cold, in this small apartment. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to see what's up there, see if we can move the business there. And we came to Dubai, checked it out for the first three months. And I think that's important to do if you are considering moving to any sort of country, is go and live in the place for a period of time to understand, to feel what it's like before you actually just move there. Because, people think that they go and live in a place for a week. They go on holiday for a week or two to a place and think, oh, I could live here. Or they form an opinion, or I could live here, or I could never live here, without actually knowing about the place and actually seeing it and meeting the locals and actually immersing yourself in the place before deciding you want to move. So we did that, and then subsequent to that, the whole company moved in 2022.
What month did you come? Because I did the same thing in 2021. I was in Malta for 2 years, stuck there for COVID, because obviously little island, so you can't travel around anyway. I hadn't seen a motorway or a highway for 2 years, and then I came here and I was...
Wow, that must have been a culture shock.
It really was. And then I moved here in July of 2021.
Okay, so you moved in the peak of summer.
I moved in the peak of summer. All my friends in Malta were out having a little boat day, and I was stuck here sweltering, just working on crypto videos.
Wow, I mean, that's commitment.
Well, yeah. Someone's got to make them,
Yeah. In terms of the taxation principles, so I am... Firstly, I will say that I'll answer this question, but I do think, and we answered this on Rob's stream yesterday with NFA Live, and I think that don't just move here because of tax. Because if you're just moving because of that, then you're not going to enjoy it, because you don't exactly know, you're not actually making this place a home. You're trying to view this as some sort of a jurisdictional arbitrage for your taxes. You need to actually come here, experience it, see whether it's a place you can live in, see whether you enjoy the people, the culture. So yeah, I'd say first do that before you consider from the tax component. But when it comes to taxes, so Dubai doesn't have any personal dividend or capital gains tax or income tax. They do have a 9% corporate tax. This corporate tax is in the past, it's been only applicable to mainland companies. So mainland companies are companies incorporated that aren't in free zones. So in Dubai, you've got company structures, these things called free zones, which are entities and companies incorporated in specific economic zones. We, for instance, Dubai in Coin Bureau has a Media City free zone, right? And we incorporated in that free zone. And these free zones used to have 0% tax, corporate tax, but more recently they've now implemented tax changes where they'll have to pay the same 9% in corporate tax as the mainlands do, especially when interacting with mainland companies. But still, I mean, you pay no personal income tax. And for crypto guys and crypto hodlers, no capital gains tax. That's a big one, yeah.
And it's also just the relief of not having to worry that there is going to be a kind of, you have to keep a ledger of every single transaction and kind of buying and selling just so you can document everything. That's a huge relief.
Yeah, because when we used to do that's massive, especially if you run in a company and stuff, right? And when we were in the UK, we used to have to monitor that in terms of and having to track all your crypto transactions, especially think about all the trades and everything. And these guys,
this is the thing.
People go and do these deals, think about how you'd have to track. I don't know how these guys open into different kind of meme coins are tracking their transactions. If they're probably not declaring tax, because I don't know how hard it is. There are tools out there. There are tax tools that basically you can connect a wallet to, or you can connect your exchange APIs and it can track your trades. But if you chain hop in Crossbase and Solana and buying Bodin and selling for Trump and all these kind of weird DeFi degenerate things, I don't know how you're tracking that stuff. And if you're not, well...
My dad is a UK, he has like accountancy firm in the UK, and around 2 years ago, he was like, Jess, people are starting to track their crypto and I'm starting to have to log that into. He's like, I don't know what any of these words mean. I was like, Ian, I have been a crypto YouTuber for 5 years already. You're telling me you've not watched a single video that you don't know what any of these words mean. So yeah, it's tricky, but here is a real crypto haven. So come and check it out. If you're in town, let us know.
Yeah. Token 2049, if you guys are going to be here, let us know as well, because that's going to be a big event for most of the crypto industry is going to be here at that time of year. So, it's only in a week now. So, yeah.
Exciting
times.
Okay, so Christopher Loberg, 94, your top airdrop at ICO Picks. Huge fan of the channel, by the way. Aw, thanks Christopher.
Yeah. So airdrop picks, ICO picks. So I don't invest in ICOs right now. I don't think ICOs are big. I know that there's some launching on Twitter and whatnot. We have done SAFT agreements, but that's not necessarily an ICO specifically. In terms of airdrops, now this is also, but it can become a full-time job. It takes a lot of time and dedication because there are a lot of airdrops out there. There's a lot of scam airdrops. There's a lot of airdrops that just are not worth your time and investment. And I'm not an airdrop farmer, and I just try to focus on optimizing for airdrops. So you stake in particular ecosystems, and actually I think about it more like use a network because you want to use it, and it's cool to use it, and you potentially the opportunity for airdrops, but don't try and farm on every single pool because you're going to basically your attention span, you can't keep focused, and you're going to be just getting crappy airdrops. Having said that. In terms of the kind of airdrops you may be interested in and looking at, one I've mentioned before is Lava Network. Now, Lava Network is a decentralized RPC network built on the Cosmos SDK. They basically can view it as like a decentralized version of Infura. So if you know Infura is basically they run these RPC nodes that wallets connect to be able to get information from the Ethereum blockchain and other blockchains. Obviously, it's centralized, so a decentralized version. It's more permissionless. You don't have to worry about getting censored if you're in a country, which Infura has had a background doing. They've since expanded that to basically offer data access more broadly across multiple networks and multi-chain. And they're trying to basically solve the fragmentation issue we've got going on with blockchains. It's also an interesting play on the Celestia modularity narrative, because if you're going to be setting up and running your own roll-ups on Celestia, you basically want to be able to access data from another network. You need to connect to an RPC. You want to get data from an RPC provider or an RPC node in the case of Lava Network. So it's a very interesting project. They are doing a points-based system for if you are connecting to the endpoints, the RPC endpoints, you could potentially get points for the airdrops that they're going to be doing. And it's got an interesting tokenomics as well. They've just released this at Biddle Asia. So fixed supply, it's going to be deflationary, and then stakers from Lava can earn in other tokens. I will also say that the CoinGrows invested in LavaNet in one of their funding rounds. So just full disclosure there. Another one is Berachain. You heard of Berachain?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a very popular, it's a very big, there's a lot of excitement around this project right now. It's one of the most exciting infra plays, DeFi infra plays. It's a completely, now this is a completely speculative airdrop, of course, I'll say, because it hasn't been announced. But if people are excited about potentially getting an airdrop from Berachain, because it's raised recently at a $1 billion valuation. It's a unicorn, and it's the TLDR, and what it basically is it's a DeFi-focused layer 1 that's built with it's EVM compatible, and it's got this unique consensus mechanism called proof of liquidity, which kind of aligns the incentives of both the people providing the liquidity, and it's using the consensus mechanism, so they're also upholding the security of the network. It's backed by some big names in the space, Polychain, HackVC. So they're currently running a test net. It is speculative. So I would say that there's no guarantee you're going to get an airdrop, but it's definitely an interesting project to keep on your radar from an airdrops perspective if it does drop, because at least 95% of the most valuable airdrops have come from, people didn't expect an airdrop, or they weren't necessarily announced, but it was implied. I mean, remember the Uniswap, the first ever airdrop, right? No one had planned for that. There was no sort of announcement for that. No one knew they were going to actually get a drop, right? And that people were just surprised. Yeah. It was like the most crazy thing. I remember because I used Uni back in the day quite a lot, Uniswap, and I never expected, there was no concept of airdrops at that stage. And the fact that you could get given free money like that, I mean, it's crazy. So
Athena was a big talking point this week as well. Athena had a huge Athena Labs, and there was it dispensed, I think it was $450 million worth of tokens.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's value creation to a certain degree, right? It's crazy that they're just going to be given for free money, and people just farming this stuff. Yeah.
And one of the largest shareholders got nearly 2 million. I saw Arthur Hayes was tweeting about it, Yahtzee, let's go. And it is wild. But as you've said, it is a full-time job. There is a space on the Discord, isn't there, for
there is a space for airdrops. There's an airdrops channel, airdrops alpha. Yeah. So that's actually keeps track of a lot of stuff in the Cosmos space. Cosmos airdrops are probably the most popular right now in terms of what's going on there because of all these sovereign chains launching. Another interesting Cosmos one is Harbor.
Oh, okay. So we had a call with CryptoCito on Wednesday, and he was like, "Okay, there's 2 hours left of the Harvard airdrop. Make sure you claim it." And I have my work laptop and I have my crypto laptop at home. And I was like, "Guys, I've got the live stream. I'm not going to be home in time." And I was like, "Have you guys claimed?" And Guy was like, "Maybe." So don't sleep on airdrops, guys. I think you have to be either fully committed or if you're in the right place in the right time. And for me, I mean, I'm busy. I've got a lot to do. I will kick myself in 12 months that I've not been more invested in airdrops. But
I don't know, man. If you see Pepper handed the Harvard airdrop. Oh no!
Here we go. I thought it was going to be a whole.
Okay, look. To be honest, it is an interesting project in the sense that I've talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
It's a meme coin on Cosmos. It's wide distribution to injective stakers, Celestia,
the first meme coin on Cosmos.
I don't know if it's the first one, but I think maybe it is. I don't know. I need to double check this, but it's definitely not. If the others have been, they haven't they weren't able to get traction. No one knew about them, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this is the thing. If you actually have meme coins are popping off in all these other ecosystems, and can Harvard be one of those that gets it off going in Cosmos? I mean, they got a dog.
They've got a cute little dog with sunglasses.
Yeah. What's a breed of dog is that? That's
like a terrier, like a Jack.
Terrier is cute. Yeah, super cute mascot for their catchy mascot for their meme coin, and they've also got top tier Twitter game, essential for a meme coin.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Did you register for the airdrop?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Oh, guys, I feel like you guys need to give me the heads up because I know there's groups and telegrams, but It's easy to miss the mark. There's so much going on right now.
Just there's a channel called Airdrops Alpha in the Conjuring Discord. That's where you get
I
all your
will join it. Thank you, guys.
Cool. Next question is from Conful, speaking of Cosmos, Conful09. Cosmos Eco is growing. Other than Kujira, what other projects stand out most? 100 to 500 million market cap.
Oh, okay, interesting. So I've kind of focused on some of the Cosmos projects that are on my watch list that I think that I'm just looking to kind of be ready to kind of accumulate into, because as you guys know, if you've seen my portfolio on Coinbura Club, I hold quite a bit of Atom and I'm looking at reallocating that into some of them. So Babylon is one of the ones that is coming out soon, which we had the AMA with the guys, David C, on a few months ago. That is Bitcoin staking on the Cosmos SDK. Vanek has said that's one to watch for 2024. Bitcoin staking is a really interesting narrative. They've also got really big backing from the likes of Binance Labs, OKX Ventures. So I'm kind of expecting that we could see some interesting wallet integrations from the get-go from the likes of Binance Wallet and OKX Wallet. Osmosis. The UX and UI is delightful, almost on par with the Solana ecosystem, I would say, which is a little controversial. Persistence, really interesting team. So I interviewed the guys from Persistence, I think in 2021, a while ago, and I was pretty impressed with what they're doing. I think the restaking kind of trend is picking up again. They're also going to be in town for token. So Persistence is also one that I have got on my watch list as an interesting project to watch. And we're actually also speaking to the Osmosis team at the moment to possibly get them on board for an interview or AMA. Wow. So keep your eyes peeled there.
Osmosis, yeah. Sito is also super bullish on Osmosis. Yeah. Guys, and by the way, if you haven't seen it, there's an interview I did with Crypto Sito. He's the king of Cosmos YouTube. Yes. He's got all this inside out and all these interesting projects, and he's very bullish on Osmosis. It's one of his biggest plays. It's been in Cosmos for it's like one of the earliest Cosmos counter projects. That's multi-chain DEX, an AMM, sorry. The team, right? The team is a very strong team, but the builder, Sonny Aguilar, he's a strong builder in the space. So Osmosis is a great one. And then
curious to hear yours, because you did have an interview with Crypto Sito.
Yeah, I did.
So has it changed your outlook? Has it added any new things to your watch list?
Yeah, it has actually. There's two. Now, this is interesting because so firstly, I would say that when you're talking about the Cosmos ecosystem, people need to understand it's massive.
Yeah.
And it's actually like, it's not just, you can't necessarily compare it to the likes of a Solana and Sui in the sense that because the Cosmos SDK and its tech is so wide and expansive, there's so many different sovereign chains that are built on top of it. Like, for instance, there's the likes of Say, which is a Cosmos-based project.
Yeah.
DYDX has got a Cosmos chain. You got like Injective.
I thought we could go the whole answer without you mentioning Injective.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We got so close.
It's always on my mind, always on my mind. And then also like, Binance chain, BNB it uses a fork of the Tendermint consensus mechanism. So there's the Cosmos tech and Cosmos SDK and the Tendermint consensus powers a lot of projects in crypto. So yeah, that's what I just say. It's a very, very expansive ecosystem. So it's hard to necessarily pick. But what I will say, so two projects that are really interesting and I think have potential. So one is Neutron.
Okay.
Neutron. So this is basically a smart contract platform for developing cross-chain dApps to facilitate interchain DeFi. So you can deploy these dApps across 50 different blockchains using CosmWasm. And it's the first chain to utilize shared replicated security. So it connects to the Cosmos Hub and it can leverage the validator set from the Cosmos Hub. And it's also potentially a play on the modularity Celestia component because it's going to be used as a settlement layer for projects building on Celestia as well as a bridge for TIA liquidity. So potentially a good beta play on the TIA on Celestia and TIA. Strong team from some builders in the old Terra ecosystem. And from the tokenomics perspective, it's got a great revenue share model where if you're doing transactions in the native token is NTRN. If you're doing transactions in non-native tokens, you get there's a revenue share model that goes to DAO as well. And then 25% of all NTRN token transactions are given obviously to the Cosmos Hub for the replicated security. And 75% of it is burn. So it's got the burning going on, which obviously means that you're going to potentially have a deflationary aspect, a 1 billion cap supply. So from the tokenomics perspective, it's sound money. One of the concerns potentially is like only 28% of it is out circulating. But there's no major unlocks until June. So keep an eye on those dates. So that's one of them, Neutron. And then another one is a much smaller play. And this is actually came via a referral from Cito. And I actually spoke to the founder, a very smart guy called Vallejo, and it's a project called Quasar.
Okay.
So now it's building basically a DeFi vault strategy for interchain as well. So it's multi-chain that you can build these liquid staking and liquid restaking vaults, right?
Yeah.
So if you think kind of like, it's not like Yearn Finance, because Yearn Finance, these vaults were basically open and everyone could see what the strategies were. Here, the strategies developed off-chain and they deployed on-chain, but so that you can't actually replicate the strategies, which means that you can't have people copying your strategies. They've raised funding in the previous bear market, which is a tough thing to do, and build within the previous bear market, and come out strong, which is a tough thing, especially if you were a project coming out in the Cosmos ecosystem just after Terra collapsed, like there was. Capital had dried up a lot. I spoke to the founder, very smart guy, and they've got a lot of exciting things they're working on. It's backed by some big backers as well in terms of like well-known VCs, Polychain, Blockchain Capital. That's an interesting one to look at. Quasar, another project for interchain vault strategies, interchain liquid staking and liquid restaking vault strategies.
Interesting. One thing I have to say about the Cosmos ecosystem, and I know we've had Ethan Buckman, the co-founder of Cosmos, on the channel before, and Ethan really advocates, he's like, multi-chain is so important. Like, there's not one chain to rule them all. It's all about interoperability. And I think he pushes this narrative more than most other founders do by quite a significant standpoint. And that really feeds through into the Cosmos ecosystem in quite a significant way. So a lot of the projects you see will be interoperable, multi-chain. And I think as a kind of, if you're looking to pick a narrative, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
We've been bullish on Cosmos ecosystem for a long time. I think even in the 2020s, because the whole idea of no chain can rule more, and you need to basically have this notion that you'll have a lot of these different connected chains, and IBC facilitates that, right?
Reinhard Polhacker. Reinhard Polhacker. Okay, you guys can see the question on the screen.
Okay, wait. Reinhard Polhacker.
It's an interpretation, guys. We can interpret it as we wish.
His first name is definitely Reinhard. So the question is his middle name Po and his surname's Chaka?
But I'm reading it as Polhacker.
Polhacker. Maybe that's a pseudonym. So it's Reinhard. That's a POC hacker. Reinhard. He's a hacker for the POC.
People of China.
Yeah.
Or
PBOC or whatever.
Okay, so what do you think about the Pendle token? Thanks.
Pendle, this is a really interesting project, by the way. It's like basically it's a dynamic AMM automated market maker for yield-bearing assets. So it's a permissionless yield trading protocol where it allows people to separate out the yield component from a yield-bearing asset. So think about all these assets that are earn yield through staking, right? You can literally, it allows you to create these different kinds of tokens which will allow you to trade just the interest-bearing component. So what's crazy there is you're basically creating in DeFi an interest rate derivatives protocol. So you're trading like just the yield. You're not trading actually the underlying. You can separate out the underlying, and you can also do a lot of things like secure fixed yield. And what's fascinating about this is kind of like an analogous to think about like in TradFi, one of the biggest derivative markets out there. It's not equity and everything. It's interest rates. Interest rate derivative products and interest rate derivative market is massive. And basically what they're trying to do here is they're trying to create an analogous version where you can trade this on-chain DeFi yield in just a token itself. And they've also just recently, like a few months ago, they also bring in RWA component to it. So they're going to allow for the separation of yield from real-world assets that bear yield, and you can then just have a token that's related to the yield-bearing component. And they've obviously got the AMM itself, which means you can trade these yield-bearing tokens. And they've obviously got this Pendle token, which has got good value components to it, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to, it's used for governance and providing, and also you can earn it from providing liquidity. And also if you stake the V Pendle and you put it into an escrow, you can also earn super rewards. And I think Arthur Hayes also backs it, right? You know, so yeah, it's a really interesting project. I mean, it is pretty complicated in the sense that people are like, okay, it's interesting. You've got to, you know, the questions around what happens if you take in yield out and you're breaking that yield up, and what happens if there's the yield drops, and are you rehypothecating the yield, interest rate yields and stuff on the DeFi market? But yeah, it's definitely an interesting project.
Yeah, and we've covered it a few times on the news on the kind of leading performers or top gainers. So the TVL has grown by more than 60% in the last month alone, approaching $4 billion. It's the largest DeFi yield protocol in that regard. And then they've expanded into Arbitrum, BNB, and Optimism because they started on Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
And then there was also the Pendle team discussing implementation on Solana blockchain.
Yeah. So it can be multi-chain, and yeah, I think it can be a good play. I think it's an interesting project for sure. Yeah. Okay, next question is from Federico Gomarasa. Yeah.
One thing that I think we should start to do more is reread the usernames because the usernames are tricky.
They are tricky, man. They are tricky, and sometimes it's like, yeah, especially if there's non-English surnames and stuff mixed in there. I mean, there's a few that I've read in the past as well, and I feel bad because it's kind of like if someone mispronounces your surname, it's kind of offensive, right? And
guys, you are fully allowed to message us in the comments and say, you guys, this is how you say it. Please correct us because we want to.
Yeah. We want to try and get it right, you know. So, what's the difference between DePIN and RWA?
This is a good question. So I think you've also got the interview that you've had with CryptoCito, so you can probably give a little bit more of the kind of examples. But as we know from the kind of analogy and standpoint, DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, and then RWA is real-world assets, so real-world assets that we're going to see on-chain. So a good example of RWA that we're seeing, particularly in Dubai, is we're seeing like real-world assets of tokenized real estate. That's something that is coming up now, and it's been a talking point. For the last 2 years, we've been seeing is something that is going to be more of an investing standpoint with the UAE, whereas when it comes to decentralized physical infrastructure, that's more like infrastructure we're seeing from the likes of kind of Hive Mapper and Honey on Solana, which is infrastructure that you as an individual can implement, run nodes on, that you can kind of gather token standpoints.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it is a good question in the sense that it can be because DePIN is physical infrastructure, right? It's a physical asset, so it's a real world asset. That's true. So there's where the confusion can come in. But I think that the best way to explain it is like blockchain-based management for real-world facilities and data, and that you're using like cryptocurrency and incentive mechanisms for people to uphold these physical networks, right? So we're thinking like, you know, physical, decentralized, mobile networks, cloud storage, decentralized compute, all those kinds of things. And yeah, like real-world assets is basically taking these real-world assets is basically just tokenizing assets out there and put them in a token form, such that they can be traded on a blockchain, right? So real estate, other things like treasuries, they've been talking about a lot, maybe also tokenizing stocks. Yeah. So there's no, whereas with DePIN, you incentivized to uphold the network and do things to earn tokens within the physical the infrastructure network. RWA, you just hold in a physical token, which represents your share, or tokenized and fractionalized share in another asset. So both are very, I mean, I'm more bullish on the narrative of DePIN for this cycle. I don't know what you think, I mean, in terms of narratives plays.
Yeah, I was also going to say the same. I think the DePIN narrative, because I think it's more expansive into a wider ecosystem, and there's more of an encouragement for people to spread the ecosystem and make it larger at that standpoint than RWA. But I think the use cases for RWA that we have seen so far have been interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Charlie Compton, when is the album dropping? That is a great question. Maybe you can add some context first of all, for those of you that have not seen.
When's the album dropping?
When is the album dropping? So this is in reference to a April Fool's little joke that we played on you guys. I think first of all, if we go back a few weeks, you guys will remember that we have released a few crypto bull market songs recently. You were part of an excellent rap. Great job, by the way.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, rap was How Low Can It Go? Nick Crypto, you know. And then Guy was Guys.
Keep Going Higher.
Keep Going Higher,
Which was also a bop.
It was amazing. all done with our what was the guy's name? The
Him.
mixer. Yeah, the music producer behind the scenes.
Yeah, we found a
magic
music
behind the
producer,
scenes.
made it all happen. So then we thought for April Fools, because the markets are just going so crazy right now, we didn't want to make an April Fool's joke that was a little bit too believable, that could potentially, lead people into a false investing avenue. We thought that was not fair while we are in such a peak insanity ecosystem right now. So we thought, why don't we just do an educational album so we can drop the artwork in here so you can have a little look.
What were some of the titles we had there?
Let me find them for you guys.
So the name of the album was Crypto Chronicles, right?
Yes.
So, and then some of the titles were, one of them was Straight Out of Coinbase.
Straight out of Coinbase. We have, Keep Going Higher.
Keep Going Higher.
Flying in the Segway, which is you and Guy both get to scooters to
on
work.
Our Segways, yeah. So no Lambo, Segway, flying in the Segway.
More crypto, more problems, in homage to Biggie.
Ain't it a thing, man. Ain't it a thing.
I get the crypto bag featuring the Cardano girls because they were also trending last week.
They're trending, yeah. The Cardano girls feature. They're going to be on a feature in the new album, yeah.
Yeah. SBF did it. I mean, it was relevant because 25 years in the slammer. Pump My Bags. Sat City. Tiger kind of track, yeah. Mr. Crypto Worldwide. I think that was a... who's that guy?
Pitbull, yeah.
Pitbull.
Jesus,
I can kind of see Guy as like a little fancy dressing up. Straight Out of Coinbase.
Yeah, there you go.
How Low, that was your track. Yeah. Decentralized Dreams, Hodl Hustle, and Satoshi's Cypher. Honestly, this is not so far-fetched until you read a few of the name titles, but actually the album cover looked pretty believable.
Yeah, it did, man. It did. I literally, I think it legitimately, if you go in the olden days when you used to go and shop for actual CDs and your actual, nowadays you don't see it. If you see that on Spotify, you'd be, actually, that kind of looks believable, huh? No financial advisory, education.
Yeah, maybe we should print it out as a record vinyl cover and pop it on the wall just because it looks pretty cool. It looks like it could be a funky little podcast also.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I wonder. Yeah, so we shared this April Fool's joke in the Telegram. Mm-hmm. I'm curious as to how many people actually did go to Spotify and search for the Crypto Chronicles.
Was there any April Fool's jokes that you saw that you fell for or that you thought could be believable?
On Twitter, yeah. There was one that basically, I had to think for a quick second. Mm-hmm. And that was David Hoffman, from Bankless, and he basically said, I'm joining Solana to be the head of decentralization or
VP of decentralization.
And I was like, for a quick second there, I was like, what the hell is going on? Why would he do that? But then obviously in the context of them being ETH Max, generally for you to be ETH Maxis and everything. And so I think Anatoly replied to it as well, right? Yeah.
I was wondering this because I'd seen on the tweet that he'd even tagged Austin, who's head of strategy at Solana. Yeah. This is what makes it believable, is when they actually tag the people and the companies. That's when I'm like...
And then when they respond and that stuff. So yeah, that kind of almost caught me, but then I was like, it's April 1st. And another really funny, wasn't really in April. There was a few. There was also like one I remember was the Waves. Do you know Waves, the crypto project?
Yeah.
The guy said he said we were renaming the Waves project to the token's going to be AI or something, and it pumped the price. Everyone's buying in anticipation and he's like, no guys, April Fools. I bet you he put in a buy order and he longed on his Waves token before he changed it to AI.
You've got to be careful now. Peak insanity in the markets. It's like this is the time that things can go a little crazy. I fell for the one which was we've had the crypto lawyer Irina Hiba come on the channel on Coin Bureau Clips, and she is the kind of the voice of sticking it to the man, decentralization, but also based between Dubai and Switzerland, which is why I believed it. And on LinkedIn, she posted out that she was having a new job role as head of cryptocurrency communication or something at the World Economic Forum. Okay, I should have known better, but I was like, because she'd even tagged the World Economic Forum. And I came in and I was like, guys, did you see Irina started working at the World Economic Forum? Great, we're getting some of the good guys coming into the big companies,
But the reason I at first thought, wait, maybe this could be slightly believable is because I know she's very anti-establishment. She rages against the wave all on Twitter. Mm-hmm. But if she wants the maximum effect for the joke, why wouldn't you do it on Twitter where a lot of your audience knows you're anti-establishment? Yeah. Right?
And then, so this is really embarrassing. I'm going to share with you guys. So I actually, I commented on the post wow, what a job title. Thankfully, that could have been taken that I knew it was a joke or I knew it was serious. And then I came into work and you were like, I'm pretty sure that was an April Fool's. And then I messaged her and yes, I can confirm it was an April Fool's. So gullible is...
Another one, which is not, I'm glad it wasn't an April Fool's joke, but it was bad timing, was when Tether released their quarterly audit, where they said that we're fully backed, our reserves fully backed and everything. I was like, dude, you guys could have just delayed this a little bit or waited until at least
just 24 hours.
Yeah, just 24 hours, because if that is an April Fool's, then wow, all that stablecoin we said we're holding.
We are fully compliant and we are 100% audited. April Fools.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Well, anyways, we've got a long year now to think about our next April Fool's joke for Coin Bureau. So you guys let us know in the comments what you think could be a good one for us to play, and we can use this for inspiration for the next one.
Sounds great.
Maybe involves Guy shooting from a weird location.
Yeah, we have time to brainstorm with some of the Guy stuff, put them in some
in a costume. Yeah. Cool, guys. Thank you very much for sending in your questions. We love answering them, of course. And as you guys know, if you want to submit them, please, our Instagram will be linked to below. And for the next Q&A with the crypto twins, hopefully we can get Jess some of these glasses as well. We'll crowdfund to get her some glasses as well.
Thank you for the support, guys. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the support. We'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, guys. Adios.
Yo, it's the crypto rap. Let me set the stage where Bitcoin's the king, ruling all the rage. LTC, ETH, and X are here in the mix. We're stacking up gains, making moves quick. Blockchain revolution, breaking all the norms. Decentralized power, weathering storm. From the depths of the dip to the highs of the moon, we're hodling strong, singing a bullish tune. Crypto rap, pump the markets high. Stacking up coins, reaching the sky. Bulls running wild, bears on the run. In this digital jungle, we're having fun. Altcoins popping off like fireworks at night. ICO frenzy shining bright. NFTs creating a whole new craze. Artists and gamers joining the maze. DeFi changing the game, banking without banks. Yield farming, liquidity pools giving thanks. Smart contracts executing without delay. Automated finance in a revolutionary way. Crypto rap, pump the markets high. Stacking up coins, reaching the sky. Bulls running wild, bears on the run. In this digital jungle, we're having fun.
Keep going higher. Keep going higher. Keep going higher. Keep going higher. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going higher.